Good morning. It's Tuesday, February 8th, 2022, and today the topic of my studio visit is going to be about career and career trajectory and career development. So I suppose the first thing that I wanted to do was invite some of you who follow me who might be at a point in their career where they want to discuss things to literally get in touch with me, send me an email, or friend me on Facebook and message me, or on Instagram, one of the social platforms. And I'm more than happy to have some telephone discussions about art career stuff, and ideas about how to develop careers, because that's what I'm going to be thinking about, and what I have been thinking about for myself in the last couple of days. So the first thing is I'm working on some small paintings this week. And last week I worked on, the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I worked on about 10 or 15 large paintings. I'm talking about 36 by 48 inch to 24 by 36 inch paintings. And the reason why I've been working on those larger paintings was because I have this idea about changing the trajectory of my career, or thinking about some things in terms of upgrading my career, or trying to make a little bit more money off of the sale of my paintings. Since 2016, I've been doing very well. Actually, before that, I think I've been doing this for almost 10 years now. I started selling my stuff online, and I started phasing out galleries. And I started working with an audience of older gay men who are called bears, and making art for a queer audience and about gay and queer issues, because I really identify with that kind of stuff. And also because I felt it was socially relevant, and also because bears and I look like this. So lately, I've been thinking about what kind of a career do I want to have as an artist. And I've been trying to figure out a little bit more about what I want to do long term with my career. But at the same time, I don't want to lose touch with the people who have been more or less funding my art practice for the last 10 years. And I've been selling work for really inexpensively for a long time. And I'm almost to the point where I'm making about 3/4 of the amount of money that I made as a college professor, selling my work independently without galleries online. And I have recently raised my prices, and I'm afraid that it's pricing some people out of being able to afford my work, which is kind of bugging me that that's happening. But shipping costs have gone up recently, expenses have gone up, and I'm trying to make better art, and I'm trying to make more important art, and it's taking me longer to make paintings. So there's a whole bunch of justifications for raising my prices. But one of the other ideas that I had was, I'm going to start making big paintings, and I'm going to pitch my paintings to some galleries in New York and London, and see if I can get some shows where I can sort of up my career and become what's sometimes referred to as a blue chip artist. And that's kind of a weird thing to think about, because part of me disagrees with the art world, and disagrees with which artists are important, which artists aren't. Let me first talk about, I've been following a young woman named Marilyn Buchanan, and watching her videos recently of gallery visits in New York, Los Angeles, and London. And I did this, or I've been watching her videos recently with the because I can't visit New York, I can't visit London, I can't really visit LA because of COVID and also because of expense. And I also want to keep working. So she's sort of visiting these galleries by proxy for me. And I was surprised and actually kind of upset by how bad some of the work was, by how bad what I thought 90 or 95% of the work that was being shown in these really important, prestigious New York galleries and Los Angeles galleries and London galleries were. So I have been trying to figure out, do I want to start trying to find a gallery that can sell these large paintings for a lot more money? And I'm talking about, I want to raise my prices to $5,000 to $10,000 a painting for a large painting, but I still want to keep selling these small paintings at around $375. So one of the other things that I've been doing is researching art galleries and the art world. And what I'm talking about when I'm talking about researching the art world and art galleries is I've been looking at the different levels of galleries, the different strata, and I have had an almost 30-year career of showing and having really good shows, but not making a lot of money when I've had the shows at the galleries. So I've been doing a little bit more of a deep dive, reading some articles and watching some videos and looking into some things on the web. And what I've discovered, and I've found 2 or 3 really reputable news sources that talks about this, and I'll put those in my blog post as videos and links too that might help you to do that. But basically, what I wanted to do was figure out, like, so what is the art world like? What does it take to hack, to get into it? And what I discovered was that the art gallery world, at the level where the paintings are going for $20,000 to $1 million or more a piece, is actually run or governed almost by a mafia, by a very small subset of people who control artists' careers, who control who gets to be seen, and that's run by about 4 or 5 galleries. And part of it is also that the art world is a very, very small percentage of the world economy. Like, we're talking about like less than 1% of what the economy is. For example, soybeans and corn outstrip sales of art in terms of the economics of it. We're talking about 1,000 times or more. So it made me think about, like, so I have got this really great career where I sell things independently to collectors who are very loyal to me. I've got a collector base of about 400 or 500 people, and often when I put things on the web or on Facebook right away, my collectors have been following me on Facebook and they're kind of interested, and a lot of times a painting will sell. And that's not going to happen if I change careers, if I move into another stratum. So what I'm kind of talking about is a multiverse of like choices that I can make, sort of like the Spider-Verse. And I was thinking about the different levels of galleries. So the art market is basically determined by whose work sells at auction, and it's called secondary sales. So if a painting or a painter wants to have value, their work, when it's resold later at an auction like Sotheby's or Christie's or something like that, that establishes a value, and then their work and their value as an artist rises even for the new work that they make. But if you're not selling in the secondary market, there's no establishment for your value. So a lot of these blue chip artists who are showing at Marlborough and Zwirner and these really high-end galleries that Marilyn Buchanan is visiting in New York and control the art world, they their careers have already been made. So people like me who are in their late 50s might not have a chance at that world. And I was thinking about, like, I'm not connected socially to people who can put me in places where I can show, and I don't have galleries necessarily that are interested in me. I've written to some, and some higher end galleries have gotten back to me and have expressed an interest, but who knows if they're going to be interested. So we're talking about, that's the stratosphere where I would be a multimillionaire from my career as an artist. But there's another set of artists who are doing very well and are showing in galleries, but also are selling their work kind of independently through art brokers and things like that. Probably a couple of Malcolm Liepke is a very good example of that. If you look up his work, he's extremely popular. He has a really big following. His paintings are going for $20,000, $30,000 a piece. He sells prints in the print market. He probably has some establishment in the secondary art market. He's also shown in some kind of really good galleries like Arcadia Gallery, and when Eleanor Ettinger was still around, he was showing with her. And so he has a really good career in selling his work. However, that I'm not even to that point yet, you know, so I wouldn't mind having a career like him and having shows that were successful, but I'm the kind of artist who's had a lot of shows, but every time I have a show, I literally break even on the shows. But selling work directly out of my studio, I actually make a reasonable living doing that, and I haven't had to touch my retirement since I retired from being a professor of art, and I did that for about 25 years, something like that. And you can look at my resume online and track my career and look at how many shows I've had. So my career as an artist, I was showing with some galleries in Sacramento, some galleries in San Francisco. I've had shows in Texas. I've had shows in the Southwest, in Santa Fe, things like that. And those have been pretty good shows. But like I said, I haven't made more than $5,000 to $10,000 off of those shows. And a lot of times that $5,000 to $10,000 got eaten by shipping costs, framing costs, and all kinds of incidental costs. I've even had museum shows. So when I transitioned to doing what I'm doing now, and I started doing that probably around 2011 or 2012, I started selling independently online, basically using Etsy an awful lot. I discovered a different sort of community of people who were doing that. And the community that I'm friends with, there's two artists who I'm really good friends with who work with similar subject matter. One is named Brendan Sanborn, who's a wonderful painter. You should look him up. Another one is named Benjamin Lester, and we talk on the phone, occasionally, probably once or twice a month, especially Brendan, and we share techniques and ideas about how to sell art and what to do. And one of the things that the three of us are doing is we have an audience through social media that we're selling on Instagram, we're selling on Facebook, and through our websites. And Benjamin is doing very well. He's starting to sell his stuff or getting a lot of gallery shows. And I don't know how successful those shows are, but it seems like he is making a living wage, enough to maintain his studio and maintain himself without having to have another job. And Brendan Sanborn has been doing that for years and sells a lot of prints. So I guess in conclusion, a couple of thoughts and why I made this video today. I wanted to, first of all, offer to have communications with people who want to talk about art and making art and their career, and maybe consulting with me. I also have a course online that I offer completely for free on Udemy, so if you visit my site, you can click on that link. It's Art Business. It's a little dated, and that's why I've started making these videos. But the other thing is I wanted to get advice from you guys and see if you knew of some galleries that might be good for me to work with, and see what your thoughts about some of the things that I've been talking about today are. So thanks for listening, and I'm going to start working on some smaller paintings today to satisfy my my established collector base, and to satisfy also the need to make smaller works that I use sort of as studies for the larger paintings. Thanks for joining me.